All right, so what I thought I would do today is just do some drawing, and this is something that everybody should do. Just random drawing to get the juices flowing. Something that you're not going to really care about, that you're going to throw away, and this is something I always say to people. When you start out, just don't really care about it. Just do it. Just do whatever comes to your head. Just go ahead and do it, and then you're not caring about it, so that way you won't worry about it being so perfect, and then you won't get frustrated when it doesn't come out to be perfect, and then you can just throw it away, and then you become a lot looser by doing stuff. So whatever comes to mind, I'm going to do it. I've got my alarm set for like 20 minutes, and I'm just going to do it, and maybe just kind of explain what I'm doing with some of the things that I'm doing. So, you know, artists always start out with that eye, and when you do an eye, there's always this fold over the eye, that little bit of fold over the eye, and then your eye, your eyebrow, and your lashes. Being a woman, I usually don't do every lash, but one thing about the woman's eye is when you do a close-up, there is another level or layer or landing, I don't know what to call it right now, but the eyebrows come out from there. Whereas the eyebrows come out from under that fold of skin right there. But this one is like this little border, like a little trench, and it's just skin, and eyebrows come from that skin. Now, I'm amazed at people that can actually sit there and do all these eyebrows and make it look good, because I can't do it. I'm not the one. I'm sorry. But yeah, just do that. And when I do women's eyes, let's just say I do a man's eye and a woman's eye, and whatever comes to mind, I'm just going to draw. So I usually do the man's eye more square like this, and then just round it off a little bit. But I try to keep this point and this point squared off, but the 2 points on the same line, like that. Whereas a woman's eye, you have this point here, the other point right there would be above that line, like that, where I keep the man's on the same line. And I know I just did a point here, but it just gives it a better look. But I'll usually do a man's eye. I'll keep it more of a rectangle like that, and then just give it a little roundness to it, like so. But a woman's eye, it's more pointy, especially up here, but it doesn't. This will cross that same line. This one won't. This back point won't, and that gives that woman a better looking, gives it more of a feminine looking eye. So even if I did a man's eye and did the football shape, it would be like that, and the woman's eye would be like that. So yeah. So doing an eye, you have the actual ball, and what I do is I always do a light source, and then you have is that the pupil there? So that's always black. And I wish I had a good brush. It's always black. There. And then you have, because your eye, you have that shadow right here, because your eye is like this from the side. You have that angle, so the sunlight comes down here, the upper lash will block that. So you have that shadow that's going to go right here underneath that top part of the eye, all the way across. So you have that. Then usually I'll make this part thick to thin because of that shadow as well. And then usually I don't do these little speckles all the time, but just sometimes I do. But not because you can overdo it and do too many. But as long as you have those steps in the shadow, And this is not a dark pencil. I didn't want to use a dark pencil. You're pretty good. You're pretty good. As I say, usually if I'm doing lashes, especially on a woman, unless it's a really, really, really close up, I'll just do the one piece like this. And then maybe add some strands to it. So, and I do need to get another brush out. So do this, and then maybe just a few strands like that. And the same thing at the bottom, but I won't take the bottom all the way. And that's what I'll do for an eye in comic books. And then just the same thing. Light source, then your pupil. Is that the pupil? You have the iris, the pupil, and the actual eyeball or something to the point like that. And then shadow. Like so. Yes. Oh, that's your eye. Artists always draw eyes. I don't know why. It was just the window of the world, I guess. So let's just do this. The mouth, the female mouth. Since I don't really do a lot of females, I haven't been doing that because YouTube and then monetization. So basically you want two mountains right here, two mountains, and you can do a straight line. But there is a high point like right here between the lips. Almost like the bat signal, the batarang. And what I do is this bottom lip is going to be a little thicker. Instead of putting it right here, I'll drop mine down on these corners and then bring it like that. Bring it around. So that's kind of like an upside down dome, like that. Like so, and then bring that around and make that bottom one a little thicker. You can make it as thick as you want to, and then separate these little wrinkle lines like that. And then usually the top one will be black. If I colored it, I have my handy dandy color pencil. If I colored this, because of the shape of the mouth, you're going to get, how is the mouth shaped from the side? The mouth is shaped like this. But your nose is like that. Come on, Brian, draw a mouth. It's almost like a heart, but you cut it, and then you get your nose here, and you get your chin coming here. But because this is sloped, that's going to see shadow. So it's always going to be dark. And then you're going to get most of your light right around here because that part puffs out. This puffs out. So what I do here, if I color it, I'll kind of leave that very light, if not white altogether, to give that shine. But if not, I'll make it lighter and I'll leave that room for those cracks. And just kind of blend that in. And then I'll go darker here and here in the corners since they go way back. And then definitely a little darkness up here because it goes in, and that bottom lip is, the top lip is covering it. And then down here as well. And if you must be picky about it, this would be darker than this. But I don't usually put cracks in the lips too much unless I'm doing like a what do you call it? A close-up. A close-up. So let's do this. Let's get another piece of paper. Don't go too far. Just your face. As I said, it was just whatever comes to mind. And as I said, I've got the timer set on 20 minutes. So we'll stop. Well, actually, I got it set on 20 minutes, but I started late, so maybe 15 minutes, 12 minutes. I want to do like a 10-minute video. Let's split this. So a nose is usually considered ugly in on the face. That's why you don't really see people draw a lot of noses. They just draw this a little bit, and then they draw a little bit of a nostril, because if you think about it, with makeup, you have eyeshadow and blush and lipstick and lip gloss and eye colors and eyelashes, and everything's for the eyes and the mouth and then your cheekbones. But nothing is for the nose. It's usually they use a little makeup to cover up the nose, really and realistically. So the nose is usually considered ugly, and women just try to make that smaller, keep the shadow away from it. Now, doing a side face, you're going to have to do the lips curve up like that. You still have that mountain, and this goes back, and then you have that kind of curve. It's going to curve just a little bit. And if you do an open mouth, you want to just come down and do the almost like the bottom lip, but you're going to come down and curve. This is going to be the thickest point right here. You're going to come back, and then you can show some teeth, but you have to be careful how you do teeth, because if you do teeth wrong, it'll bite you. So this is going to curve down here, and then you're going to have this little piece that connects to the mouth. So the same thing with it. This is going to curve up, and depending on your angle, you might see a little bit of mouth there. So if I ink that, it would look something like this. Mountain, curve, and then you have to be very careful when you do faces. I haven't done faces in a while. I've been doing more of the action stuff, but I need to do more of everything. I haven't really done my comic book. I've got the last one out, which is actually in color. There's the first one in color, and I've got the other one finished except for inking one page, and then I've got to get that one out. So you might see some more of that nostril, but not much if you see that. And then nose goes here, goes up here, and this comes to the highest point of the eye, which is the brow, comes in, face comes in. And that's something you have to be very careful with the face. You want to keep a woman's face smooth, and then not too fat, not too skinny, and then her neck, like that. And since she's got her face tilted, what pencil am I using? So this is the eye line, and usually my lines are crooked. They're always crooked. And then you have your football shape again. And then you have just enough brow here for that other eye. And as I say, my eyes are always crooked because my line is crooked. And it's probably the way that I sit. Draw the eye, Brian, draw the eye. And for some reason, I usually don't close the bottom of my eyes. I don't know. I don't really do that. I leave them open. Maybe it's just me. It's just me. And then usually my eyes are either too far close together, or one is higher than the other. That looks fairly good, so I'm just going to stay with that anyway. Like that. You have those eyelashes again. You have that little pink piece. And I'm not going to do the eyelash. I'm going to do my type of eyelash. So if I inked it, that, and then as I said, sometimes I'll add just a few flakes like that, just to give it more of that eyelash shape. But this is comics, so yeah. And the same goes here. And then down. You have that light source. And then that black. Of course, that shadow again. And that's thick to thin without any something. I just lost it. I don't know. So you have that second layer of skin, and then above that, where the nose comes, and that, for those who don't know, that shapes the nose. That the nose comes down, up, and then it goes into that eyebrow. So if you follow that, your eyebrow will curve around there. You don't want to have it up too high because that makes for your expressions. And keep it thin. Kind of the thinner the better. Because they pluck their hair, they completely take the eyebrow off, and they draw it back on. So as I'm saying, the what? I know that's not 16 minutes already. The nose, you can't change the nose. You can't take the nose off and get a new nose. It's just not possible. All right, so let's do something else. A face. Let's do a city. Like so, if you, and I say always practice your square, circles, and triangles. So let's just say you're doing like this city block thing, and a bunch of buildings here. Now every building is going to should be different height. So let's say this one comes up. It goes back. This one should be a little smaller. This one should be taller. And this is like the little shops when you're going down like Main Street or something like that. Every building should be a different height. And then one thing you do when you're driving, when you're looking at something, as an artist, you need to look at it in detail. Because the only way that you can draw something is from memory or from reference. And a lot of times you might not be able to have the reference. So these little tips can help save your life. What am I saying? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out these buildings here. And usually these shop buildings, you have your door and you have your, let's say your windows, your door, your windows. Same thing here. You might have an awning. An awning looks like that, and your door underneath your awning. You're gonna have like a sidewalk, and that depends on the angle that you're drawing. Maybe if you drew these doors and windows a little better. And this one could have a window here. But it's all in perspective. So let's just say this had a little round awning on it. And now people that everybody has a camera phone, take more pictures of stuff and then keep it in a folder. That way, whenever you need it, you can pull it out real quick. And this has an awning, which would be a little higher. Maybe a sign above this. And when you're doing comics, you're going to have to do as much detail. If you want people to take your books seriously, you're going to have to do as much detail as possible. Window, that window goes up into the awning, and this window goes up into the awning. And this could be another sign right here. But you need like construction of your roof. Let's just say it separates here. And you have a brick layer up here and something under there. Even your sign, underneath your sign, you see that little layer underneath your sign, your doorways. Your doorways are not just square. Let's just say, well, let me finish it, do this real quick. You have your little sidewalk. That's the bad thing about doing perspective and you don't have a ruler. Sidewalk comes down like that, and you have your people. Your people, how about this guy? He's going to be that way. People walking on the sidewalk. Or person walking on the sidewalk. Okay, there's my 20 minutes. Computer stop alarm. I'll do a couple more. So, a doorway. Let's think about a doorway. If you do a doorway, here's a door. You know, a doorway has a frame around it. Now that frame is usually going to have several, I don't want to say layers, but if I do a square, it's going to, that's a square. So that's the same way with your doorway is going to have several lines around it. The more kind of lines you put, the better you're drawing, the more detail, the better you're drawing. So this is a door, and this is my frame around my door. This pen is really thin. It's 005. You will see some side of that door frame. Even on the inside, you put another line on the inside. To make that thing look better, here your door could be lifted up just a little bit where you can see some shadow underneath it. And then you're going to have always have a, what do you call that, little trim around the wall, the floor wall. And usually a door, let's say a door has those 4 squares or 2 squares in it. 4 squares, I'm not going to do 4 squares. They all have that, I don't want to say concavity. That might be the wrong word. Like that. So these little things like that will help you to become a better artist, for that your work will stand out over somebody else's work. And then you have your doorknob, and your doorknob usually has the screws that hold it, and then your knob, and depending on what kind, if it's just a basic round knob, the old doors have the little keyholes. The new ones have the little latch in the middle. So little things like that will help you to stand out more than somebody else. Now let's do a quick background. Let's do a quick background. So let's say I'm gonna do a tree. Here's your trunk to your tree. Now to make something stand out and make it look rounder, this is what you do. You have a line. If it's got texture to it, you have a line, another line, another line, and then after that, these lines start to get a little closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. And that will make something look more round. So the same way with the tree is what I'll do, but I'll use the actual bark shape, and you have to go look at trees. So I'll do a shape like this. My camera's just freaking out. And then let me ink this, it's a little better. Just random patterns like that. Down the tree, that's the bark tree. You have to go outside and like look at stuff. And then as I get to the side of that tree, these little patterns will get closer and closer and closer until they make like one line like that. Or sometimes I'll go out from the one line and then I'll start making them a little bigger. Like I said, until it makes like one line. So the same thing, if you're gonna put another, let's say I'll put a bush somewhere, and it's a good thing to do cover up. So if I'm going to do, if this whole thing was a background, I'm gonna do a background. Let me redo this camera because this camera sucks. All right, let's say if this is the main tree right here, it's gonna go into the ground. Usually trees just don't go into the ground. There's grass, and let me just continue to ink this thing. There's usually grass or bushes. That's a good thing to do. For a bush, I'll just like a lot of squiggly lines like this. And then if I'm doing close up, I'll fill this bush in with more squiggly lines. You don't have to fill the whole thing in. You can, but you don't have to. But a lot of times I'll put shadow in because there's always shadow in bushes. Like that. Then I'll do just some grass, some weeds that just come like every which way, and then even down here. But if you're drawing this, you have a very good inker. If you don't have a good inker, then you want to ink it yourself, or just like what I'm doing now, just ink it in, and then maybe a few rocks or something, some more grass around it. Study your plants because you want to know how your plants are going to look when you grow up. Basically, it's just a lot of filler. So if I had another tree back here somewhere, I'll stay with the ink pen. It won't be as tall. You might not see as much detail on it, in it. And then I may have a bush behind this. This is covering up. So you have another bush back here. And you kind of don't want to get them mixed up with that, but that's for like your shadow and your inking. You have another tree that goes further back. You have some bush back here behind that tree that could come out back here. And it just basically you're filling stuff in. You're filling in. So this could be black right here. Where's that other tree at? Let's say I could put some kind of plants coming out from behind here. This could be black here. If it's a deep forest. And then this could be black here because there could be a lot of space in between for your next tree. And usually you don't want things to be flat all the time. You could have like a hill going up and then stuff on the hill or stuff behind the hill, trees behind the hill, more plants. And now I'm really rushing now. Trees back here, more black behind here. And as I say, it's good to take pictures. If you like go on family vacations or you go to the mountains or wherever you go, it's just good. Just take as many pictures as you can. It's not like you're gonna run out of film or anything. And then if you have like a lot of space that you can't figure out what to do with, then you go ahead and you put a plant. And if you're putting like a plant, a bush, and if you put some kind of bush, then you're going to have to make connecting ovals kind of, or squares, which should have been done in a fatter pen because this is close up. This one you're going to have to somewhat fill in. Because each one of these squares is going to represent a leaf somehow. I'm going to just do like a part of this. I'm not going to do like the whole thing. Because I wanted to do several other little drawing, but I wanted it to be a 10-minute video, which I could never get a 10-minute video. I did one, I think it was about 12 minutes, and that was the most popular video out there. I don't know how it became 10 or 12 minutes, but so you do like this, and maybe you can have like a couple weeds or something coming through that bush, but then you fill it in, a lot of it in with black, because there is a lot of shadow in your bushes. In bushes, not your bushes, just bushes, period. And of course this pen is like dying, so it's not a solid black. And it doesn't make a difference where you put it, you're just putting it there. You're putting it anywhere, you're covering up a lot of stuff, just in inner spaces, filling up your spaces. You don't want to get too black. Now, if it was like a dark night or something like that, then the rest of it could be black way over here. All this could be black. Fill that in there. So your trees, if you're doing your trees, at some point you're going to have to do your canopy. It's going to come down and cover everything. Now usually when I do trees or leaves from a tree, I'll do more points than anything else. So if I go up here, I'll do pointy leaves like that. Can you see that? So same thing with this. Your bark is going to come actually around. The tree going to go up, so it's going to actually come around and it goes up. And I just kind of fill in and follow that pattern going down, remembering to keep that close. And then your pointy leaves, again, you can fill that up with the shadow if I had a better brush, a lot of this could be shadow in your leaves as well. And then you're going to have some type of shadow here because your leaves are causing that shadow on that tree. And then if need be, you can have some darkness in the bark. If you want to go that route, you have dark in the bark somewhere, because the bark is not, some falls off, it's not all connected, or it's not all jammed together. So you're going to have some darkness, and that also helps to give your tree roundness. But unless you're doing like a really close up of a tree, you don't want to overdo it, because I've done some trees and I killed it. The drawing was good, but I kept messing with it and just overkilled it. So yeah, you have your little background. If you want to do your little animals, however you do your animals, back there it could be peeping out somehow. All right, one more. I really didn't do all the stuff that I wanted to do, so, but the clock is still running. So again, let's do an automobile. Let's see what we can do with an automobile. So if you are drawing a car, a lot of people just draw the square cars. Start drawing cars at angles. This is why you need to do your squares and rectangles. And this is just a car. And just start rounding off. This is one reason I say to start looking at stuff, and things have good detail to them. Nowadays, stuff has just great detail, so you have to kind of master that detail. Just put a few extra lines in to make something look better. The more detail you put into something, the better it's going to be. The wheel well is higher. That's something else. Wheels. I don't do a lot of cars because it's hard to do wheels. To get the tire in right. I never can get that tire to look right. So, let's see my door. And this is what's good about comics, is that you can do whatever. And your cars usually, it comes out and it's down. It's more rounded on the side. And then you can do the little panel thing here. You gotta have your lights. Now, depending on how you do the shape of the back of the car, let's say this, and put a center here. Let's do a light here, light here. I don't know, something under here, something under there. Your trunk key there. Bumper. Let's ink this with this pen and see what I come out with. I'm going to add a couple extra lines to this. I thought my camera was screwing up again, looking at it. So some of these lines are going to be crooked. A lot of these lines are going to be crooked. What are you talking about? But by adding just a few extra side lines, it brings more detail to your car. So even at that, so you got your door, you got your roof, you got your door. Comes down. At the bottom of your car, you always have that little extra piece. I don't know what that's called. It's probably part of the frame, I guess. And then the other door comes down here, curve around there, and you have your frame. Just add an extra little piece to it like that. Makes it look better. And I don't want to spend all this time drawing a car, but as I say, this is something you need to just do. Just sit down one day and just draw whatever comes to mind. Look in your room, whatever kind of room you have, and draw your bedroom or your drawing room, your dining room, whatever room you're in. Draw the furniture. Start practicing perspective. And I think I might do a couple more of these Just Draw series, and then people can see a little better what I'm saying. I know this trunk is off, this back of this car is off, but it's just drawing. I have no idea what kind of car that is. Future car. Future car. And I'm telling you, I'm going to have to work with that camera because this camera is like really bugging me. Just a couple extra lines, like a line around here, this line around there, that line around there. This line goes here, like an extra line down here. It just makes stuff start to look better when you do these extra lines. So this could be your door handle. A black thick line around there. Where's the key? The key would be in the front. You don't have a key. Another line here. Another door handle here. Thick line around it. Keyhole, your trunk. And if you want to, you can put a spoiler on the thing, however. But just by studying, looking at how stuff is made, your car, your parents' car, go out there and look at that. See what that looks like. Go draw that. This should be just a windshield. The window should be right here. This is like a hatchback kind of thing. And I'm going to pull out a black pen eventually. For sure, I'm going to throw this one away today. So yeah, it's just detail. Add more detail to stuff when you see it, but don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Like I'm doing with these headlights. Don't overdo too much. But leaving you guys, if I had to give you advice, get as much reference as you can. If you have a cell phone, just start taking pictures. If you see a car accident or you pass a junkyard, if you ride your bike and you go here, get out of the video game so much and go outside and look and do things. Keep your folders like cars or houses or perspective. You know, name your folders and then keep your pictures in it. Get as much pictures, especially if you're trying to do a comic book. Get as much reference as you possibly can. And then just draw. You have these days where you draw, or get you some of your art buddies together and just draw nothing. Just draw whatever comes to your mind. Just draw it. So yeah, some buildings back here. He's in a parking lot. The building's got to go this way. This street could be going this way. This is the sidewalk. You could be driving a car. This is your broken lines. Your, not the broken, what do you call those things? Your dividing lines, tailpipe, and this is where the comic part comes in, and you have your people here walking. He's waving because he knows that guy. Hey, Joe, give me a ride. And Joe's like, you still owe me some money. So that's where the writing part comes in at. Joe owes this cat some money. Joe just got a nice new car. Joe ain't about to pick you up because you owe Joe $45.22. So this guy's there like, Joe, nice car, can you give me a ride? But no, because you know what? It's raining. It's raining and this guy's getting wet and Joe's like, psh, pay me my money, I would have picked you up. So this guy's got to walk home. He's soaking wet because his car broke down. He don't have a car. This guy cheap. He borrowed money. He don't have a car. So yeah, this guy's he's in the walking in the rain. Yeah. So yeah, comics, baby, comics. That's what you do. That's what you get. All right. So let me let you guys go with this. I really didn't get half of the stuff that I wanted to do. I want to do a lot more things for you to show you guys how to do stuff, but drawing and explaining takes time, so maybe next time I won't draw and explain. I'll just draw, but to teach, you have to explain. All right, so that's going to be it for this little draw session. I'll do another one later. If you want me to do one sooner, let me know, and I'll do it. If you don't want me to do another one again, tell me, and I won't do another one again. So it's all about teaching. All right, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Forgot about the lips.